Next, I'm going to insert 3 divs and style each one as I proceed. I'll start up here on my header, highlight the text, go up to my Insert Div tag icon, and I'll insert the word header. Now I'm setting up the ID called header. I'll click OK, and I can see that there is a bounding box around the header area, and in fact if I select it, I can see that it's the header, and in the lower left hand corner where my tag selectors are, I can also see that there's a div # header. Now I'm ready to style my header, so I'll go over to the Styles panel, I'll create a new rule, I'll make sure that I'm using the ID selector, and I'll type in the word header. I'll click OK. Now I can make any number of property settings, but for now all I want to do is put in my background color so I can actually see where that div is. I'm going to do the same thing with my main area. So I'll highlight this text, go up and insert a div, make sure that it's named properly. It's going to be called main. I'll click OK, and now I can see the area that's defined as main. Now I'll go style the main, create a new rule. That's going to be an ID as well, and it's going to be called main. And I just want to give that a background color so I can really see what that looks like. Maybe I'll make this pink. Initially, I never worry about the colors. Now as I go up, I can see that there's some space between this yellow div and this pink div, this one being the header, this one being the main. And if I click inside the top one, I can see that's the div header. If I click inside the second one, I can see that that's the div main. And I'll notice right here there's an extra P tag. And I want to remove that P tag because it's just an extra space between the two divs. So I'm going to right click on that. I'm right here in the tag selector. I'm going to right click on it and choose Remove Tag. And what that does is it gives me two nice flush boxes right up against each other. With these two divs in place, I can now style them independently and really be as creative as I need to be with my new page design. I'm going to test my page in a browser and you'll see how it displays. I'll go up to this little globe, I'll preview in Firefox, and as I expand and contract the window, you can see that I have my two divs in place, but the text expands to the length of the browser window. What I really need to do now is to contain these two divs in a wrapper, and that wrapper will define a fixed width and center itself on the page. I'll close the browser window and return to Dreamweaver. Now to make my wrapper, I want to select everything on the page. So I'll go down to my body tag in my tag selector and I'll select it. Now everything on the page is selected. I'll go up and insert a new div. The name of that div is going to be wrapper, and I'll put that inside the ID field. I'll click OK, and now there's a wrapper around both of my divs. Now I'll go create a rule for my wrapper. Make sure that I choose ID. I'll type in the word wrapper. I'll click OK and start setting some properties. First I'll go to the box category and I'll set my width to a fixed 960 pixels. If I hit the apply button, I'll see that the wrapper reduces the width of both the header and the main because those two divs are inside the wrapper. Now the next thing I want to do is set up the centering. So I will turn off Same for All and I'll put in top 0, right auto, bottom 0, left auto, and I'll hit the apply button. Now I can see that the wrapper is centered as well as all the content inside it. Now I'm really ready to start building my page. I'll go up here to where the header div is and I'll click inside it. I want to grab the header image, header.jpg, and I want to position that right inside my header div. I'll drag it up there and release. I need to put in some alternative text, and so I'll just type in Wizard of Oz with a period. I'll click OK, and there's my header.jpg. I no longer need this piece of text, so I'm going to delete that away, and now my header resides inside the header div. Now down here I have some text. My main starts here and my links go here. So right in here is where the links go. So I'll begin with my first link, which is the home link, then space, then Dorothy, then space, then Scarecrow, then space, then Tin Man, then space, and then Lion. Now I'm ready to create my links, so I'll bring up my Properties panel, and I'll highlight each one, and I'll put in the corresponding link. In this case, the home page will be going to index.htm. Dorothy will go to dorothy.htm. Scarecrow will go to scarecrow.htm. Tin Man.htm. And finally, Lion.htm. Now I'm interested. Now I want to make my H1, so I'll highlight the text that I want to turn into a heading, heading 1. Now that heading is quite large, so I'm going to restyle it. Now I'm ready to go style my H1. Let me tell you about a little habit that Dreamweaver has. There are times when it will allow you to style the H1, but give you a selector that displays the H1 that resides in the main, which resides in the wrapper. Well, this is a little overkill. We really don't need to be this specific with this selector. So what I'll do is I'll just go back to my regular tag selector and style my H1. And I'll click OK. And maybe I want that font size to be about 120%. And I'll give it a color. Any color for now. I'll just choose green. And I'll hit the Apply button and see the results of my work. OK. At this point I can take away this bit of type that was useful at once, but no longer necessary. So I'll hit the Delete key. This kind of thing is typical. I'll notice if I click to the right side of my text that there's an additional P tag down here. So I'll delete that tag. And down here I can see chances are there's another P tag, and I'll delete that tag. And now everything is clean and flush. Right now my pink, which is my main, is looking pretty odd with that color, so I'm planning to change it right now. I'll change it to white, and that looks much better. Now as far as my background, maybe I want my blue background to be a little bolder, so I'll go to the body and give that a nicer blue color. Right now I have some spacing issues in the main area of my page, so I'll go to the main and I'll double click on it. I'll go to the box category and take a look at the padding properties. Maybe I want to add some padding all around. I'm going to try 30 and see what that looks like. I'll hit the Apply button, and that looks quite good.